When Michael Jordan was playing basketball in Shanghai in 1995, a 12-year-old Chinese girl walked up to him and said, "You're going to quit basketball next year." Everyone was shocked. How could this child predict the future? Her name was Xinyi Chen. She had an IQ of 215, and she wasn't trying to help Jordan that day. She was trying to save her own life. What was this genius girl's deadly secret? And how did their meeting change millions of lives forever? The crowd in Shanghai roared like thunder. 15,000 people packed into the sports arena, all waiting to see one man. Michael Jordan stepped onto the basketball court and the noise became so loud it shook the building. It was October 1995. Jordan was the most famous athlete in the world. Everyone knew his name. Kids wore his shoes. Adults bought his jerseys. Tonight he was in China for a special basketball show. Jordan smiled and waved. The Chinese fans went crazy. They held up signs with his picture. They chanted his name in English and Chinese. Cameras flashed everywhere like tiny lightning bolts. "Ladies and gentlemen," the announcer called out in English, then repeated it in Chinese. "The greatest basketball player ever, Michael Jordan." Jordan grabbed a basketball and started showing off his famous moves. He dribbled between his legs. He spun the ball on his finger. Every trick made the crowd cheer louder. But something felt different tonight. Jordan had been playing basketball for years. He had won championships. He had broken records. Yet lately the game didn't feel as fun as it used to. The crowd still excited him. But deep down, something was missing. He pushed those thoughts away and kept performing. The crowd deserved a good show. After 30 minutes of tricks and shots, Jordan walked toward the side of the court. He was sweating and breathing hard. Security guards formed a circle around him. Hundreds of fans pressed against the barriers, reaching out their hands, hoping to touch their hero. That's when he saw her. A small Chinese girl was pushing through the crowd. She couldn't have been older than 12. She had straight black hair and wore simple clothes, a white shirt and blue jeans. While everyone else was screaming and reaching, she walked calmly toward him. The security guards moved to stop her. "Sir, we need to keep the fans back," one guard said to Jordan. But Jordan held up his hand. Something about this girl was different. She wasn't screaming or crying like the other fans. She looked serious, important. The girl stepped closer. She looked right into Jordan's eyes without any fear. When she spoke, her English was perfect. "Mr. Jordan," she said in a clear, calm voice, "I need to tell you something important about your career. Something that will change everything." The crowd around them got quieter. People strained to hear what this brave little girl would say to the famous basketball star. Jordan bent down so he was at her eye level. Up close, he could see that her eyes were very intelligent. They reminded him of his college professors, people who knew things that others didn't. "What's your name?" Jordan asked gently. "Xinyi Chen," she replied. "And I know something about you that you don't even know yet." Jordan smiled. He met lots of fans who thought they knew him. Kids often told him about their favorite games or asked about his moves. This was probably the same thing. "Okay, Xinyi," he said. "What do you want to tell me?" The girl took a deep breath. The crowd leaned in closer. Even the security guards stopped moving. "You're going to quit basketball next year," she said clearly, "but not for the reason everyone thinks." The crowd gasped. Some people laughed nervously. Others looked shocked. Quit basketball? Michael Jordan? That was impossible. Jordan's smile faded. He stood up slowly. "What did you say?" Xinyu didn't look away. Her young face was completely serious. "I said you're going to quit basketball next year. Everyone will think it's because of your father's death or the gambling stories. But that's not the real reason." Jordan felt his heart beat faster. How could this 12-year-old girl know about his private problems? His father had died 2 years ago, and it still hurt every day. The newspapers had written mean stories about him gambling, but he had never talked about quitting basketball. Not out loud anyway. The real reason, Xinyi continued, is something you haven't even realized yet. Something you're afraid to admit to yourself. The arena had become very quiet. Thousands of people watched this strange conversation between the world's most famous athlete and a small Chinese girl. Jordan didn't know what to say. Part of him wanted to laugh and walk away, but another part of him, a deeper part, wanted to hear what she had to say. How could you possibly know anything about my reasons for anything? Jordan asked. Xinyi's expression softened a little. For the first time, she looked like the child she was. Because I understand what it's like to be good at something but not happy about it anymore. Those words hit Jordan like a punch in the stomach. She was right, and that scared him. Lately, basketball had started to feel more like work than play. The fun was disappearing even though he was still the best player in the world. I don't know what you're talking about, Jordan said, but his voice wasn't as strong as usual. Yes, you do, Xinyi said quietly. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you want to understand why you're really going to quit and why you're going to come back even stronger, you need to listen to me. The crowd was completely silent now. Security guards looked confused. Jordan's teammates and coaches stared in amazement. No one had ever seen anything like this. Jordan looked at this strange, smart little girl. Every instinct told him to walk away. This was crazy, but something about her confidence, her calm way of speaking, made him curious. Even if what you're saying is true, Jordan said slowly, why would you want to help me? Xinyi's eyes became sad for just a moment. Because I need help too, and sometimes the only way to get help is to help someone else first. Jordan felt something shift inside his chest. This wasn't just about basketball predictions. This girl was reaching out to him, person to person. And despite all his fame and success, he suddenly realized he felt very alone too. The crowd began to murmur impatiently. Cameras were flashing again. Jordan knew he had to make a decision quickly. He looked at Xinyi one more time. She stood there calmly, waiting for his answer. She had been brave enough to approach him in front of 15,000 people. Maybe he could be brave enough to listen. Okay, Jordan said finally. If you really think you know something important, let's talk. But not here. Xinyi's serious expression broke into a small smile. It was the first time she had looked truly happy since approaching him. Tomorrow morning, Jordan continued. 10 o'clock. The Harmony Hotel restaurant. Just you and me. The crowd erupted in confused chatter. Security guards moved closer, ready to escort Jordan away from this strange situation. But as Jordan walked toward the exit, he turned back to look at Xinyi one more time. She was still standing there, watching him go. Something about her reminded him of himself when he was young. Determined, intelligent, but somehow very alone. Don't be late, he called out to her. I won't be, she called back. As Jordan left the arena, his mind raced with questions. Who was this girl? How could she know so much about his private thoughts? And why did her words feel so true? Tomorrow, he would find out. The crowd slowly began to leave, chattering excitedly about what they had just witnessed. But Xinyi Chen stood there for a long time, watching the empty court where Michael Jordan had been standing. She had done it. The hardest part was over. Now came the real challenge, convincing the greatest basketball player in the world that a 12-year-old girl from China could change his life. But she wasn't just any 12-year-old girl, and tomorrow Michael Jordan would learn exactly who Xinyi Chen really was. That night, in a small apartment across Shanghai, Xinyi Chen sat at her desk surrounded by notebooks, papers and charts. Her parents, Li and Mei Chen, watched her with worried eyes. Xinyi, "What did you do at the basketball game?" her mother asked softly. "The neighbors are talking. They say you spoke to the famous American player." Xinyi looked up from her work. She had been writing and drawing for hours since coming home. Charts filled with numbers, graphs showing patterns, and pages of notes in both Chinese and English covered every surface. "I talked to Michael Jordan, Mama," she said simply. "I told him some things he needed to know." Her father shook his head. "Daughter, why do you always make trouble? Famous people don't want to talk to little girls from our neighborhood." But Xinyi wasn't listening anymore. She was thinking about tomorrow's meeting. She had one chance to prove herself to Michael Jordan. One chance to show him that she really could help. And maybe, just maybe, he could help her too. To understand why this meeting meant so much to Xinyi, you need to know her story. It began 12 years ago in a tiny village outside Beijing. When Xinyi was born, she seemed like a normal baby. She cried, she slept, she drank her milk. But by the time she was 18 months old, her parents knew something was different. While other toddlers were learning to say mama and dada, Xinyi was speaking in complete sentences. By age 2, she was reading simple books. By age 3, she was solving math problems that confused teenagers. Her parents didn't know what to do. They were simple farmers who had never finished elementary school. How could they have a daughter who seemed to understand everything? "Maybe she's sick," Li Chen worried. "Children shouldn't be so serious all the time." But Xinyi wasn't sick. She was just incredibly, impossibly smart. When she was 4 years old, a teacher from the village school came to visit. She had heard rumors about the Chen family's strange little girl. "Let me test her," the teacher said. She brought simple math problems, thinking she would give the child something easy. Xinyi solved them in seconds, so the teacher brought harder problems. Xinyi solved those too. Finally, the teacher brought a high school math book. "Can you read this?" the teacher asked. Xinyi not only read it, she found mistakes in it. "This child needs special education," the teacher told Xinyi's parents. "She's too advanced for our little school." But special education cost money that the Chen family didn't have. So Xinyi stayed in the village, growing more and more different from the other children every day. By age 6, she had read every book in their small library. She taught herself English by watching old American movies on their neighbors' television. She learned about history, science, and mathematics from whatever materials she could find. But the smarter she became, the lonelier she felt. Other children were afraid of her. They didn't understand why she could answer any question or solve any puzzle. They stopped inviting her to play games. They whispered about her when she walked by. "She's weird," they would say. "She acts like she's better than everyone else." But Xinyi didn't think she was better than anyone. She just couldn't help being smart. It was like being tall or having brown eyes. Something she was born with that she couldn't change. When she was 8 years old, her parents moved to Shanghai so her father could find work in a factory. They hoped the big city would have better opportunities for their unusual daughter. Shanghai did have better schools and libraries. Xinyi devoured every book she could find. She learned about psychology, human behavior, and pattern recognition. She discovered that she could look at how people acted and predict what they would do next. But the loneliness followed her to Shanghai. The city kids were just as afraid of her intelligence as the village children had been. Maybe more so. "She makes us feel stupid," one classmate complained to their teacher. "She always knows the answer before anyone else gets a chance to think," said another. Teachers didn't know how to handle her either. She was too advanced for any normal class, but too young for university. So she spent most days reading alone in the library while other children played together. That's when Xinyi started studying famous people. She read biographies of scientists, artists, and athletes. She wanted to understand how successful people dealt with being different. She noticed that many brilliant people had the same problem she did: They were lonely because their talents made them outsiders. But some of them found ways to use their gifts to help others. Those were the ones who seemed happier. When she learned that Michael Jordan was coming to Shanghai, Xinyi spent weeks studying everything about him. She watched recordings of his games, read interviews, and analyzed his behavior patterns. What she discovered surprised her. Despite his fame and success, Michael Jordan showed signs of the same loneliness she felt. He was surrounded by people, but often seemed isolated. He was incredibly talented, but didn't always seem happy about it. That's when she realized they might be able to help each other. Now sitting in her small bedroom, Xinyi prepared for the most important conversation of her life. She organized her notes about Jordan's career, his personality patterns, and her predictions about his future. Her mother brought her a cup of tea. "Xinyi, are you sure about meeting this man tomorrow? What if he's angry that you bothered him?" Xinyi looked up at her mother's worried face. Mei Chen was a kind woman who worked hard cleaning offices to support their family. She loved her daughter but didn't understand her. "Mama, I think he's lonely like me," Xinyi said quietly, "and I think we can help each other stop being so alone." Her father appeared in the doorway. "Daughter, you're only 12 years old. What could you possibly know about helping a famous adult?" Xinyi smiled sadly. "I know what it's like to be good at something but have no one to share it with. I know what it's like to be surrounded by people who don't understand you. And I know what it's like to want something different but be afraid to change." Li Chen stared at his daughter. Sometimes he forgot she was still a child. Her words were so wise, so deep. It worried him and made him proud at the same time. "What if he doesn't listen to you?" Mei Chen asked. "Then at least I tried," Yini replied. "But I think he will listen. Because when you're lonely enough, you'll listen to anyone who truly sees you." Her parents exchanged glances. They didn't understand their daughter's plan, but they could see how important it was to her. "Be careful tomorrow," her father said finally. "And remember, no matter what happens, we're proud of you." After her parents went to bed, Xinyi stayed awake reviewing her notes. She had calculated the probability of Jordan's retirement based on his behavior patterns. She had analyzed the psychological reasons behind his possible decisions. She had even predicted how he would react to her approach. But there was one thing she couldn't calculate: whether he would see past her age and recognize her intelligence. Whether he would trust her enough to listen to what she had to say. As she finally prepared for sleep, Xinyi thought about all the famous people she had studied. The scientists who changed the world, the artists who created beauty, the leaders who inspired others. They all had one thing in common. Someone had believed in them when they were young and different. Tomorrow, she would find out if Michael Jordan could be that person for her. And maybe, just maybe, she could be that person for him too. The clock on her nightstand showed 2 a.m. In 8 hours, she would meet the most famous athlete in the world. She had spent her whole life preparing for this moment, even though she hadn't known it until now. Jin Chen was indeed not just any 12-year-old girl. She was a genius who understood human nature better than most adults. She was a lonely child who had learned to see patterns that others missed. She was someone who had figured out that the only way to stop being alone was to help someone else feel less alone too. Tomorrow, Michael Jordan would learn all of this, and both their lives would change forever. The next morning, Michael Jordan sat in the quiet restaurant of the Harmony Hotel. He had arrived early, something he rarely did for meetings. But something about yesterday's encounter had kept him awake most of the night. He sipped his coffee and checked his watch. 9:55 a.m. Part of him wondered if the little girl would actually show up. Maybe yesterday had just been a strange dream. Then he saw her. Jin Chen walked through the restaurant doors carrying a large backpack that looked almost too heavy for her small frame. She wore the same simple clothes as yesterday, white shirt and blue jeans. But this morning, Jordan noticed something different in her eyes. Yesterday, she had looked determined. Today, she looked nervous. She spotted Jordan immediately and walked over to his table. Her steps were careful and quiet. "Good morning, Mr. Jordan," she said politely, setting her backpack down beside the table. "I always keep my promises," she said, sliding into the seat across from him. Jordan studied her face. In the bright morning light, she looked even younger than 12, but her eyes still held that same intelligence that had struck him yesterday. "Are you hungry?" Jordan asked. "We can order some breakfast." Xinyi shook her head. "Thank you, but I'm too nervous to eat right now." Jordan smiled. Her honesty was refreshing. Most people tried to act calm around him, even when they weren't. "Nervous about what?" he asked gently. "About whether you'll believe me," Xinyi replied. "About whether you'll think I'm just a silly child playing games." Jordan leaned back in his chair. "Xinyi, yesterday you said things that got my attention. So I'm here, and I'm listening. But I need you to help me understand something." "What's that? How could a 12-year-old girl possibly know anything about my career that I don't know myself?" Xinyi took a deep breath and unzipped her backpack. She pulled out a thick notebook bound with rubber bands. The cover was worn from use, and Jordan could see papers sticking out from every angle. "May I show you something?" she asked. Jordan nodded. Xinyi opened the notebook carefully. Inside were pages and pages of charts, graphs, and handwritten notes. Some were in Chinese, others in English. There were photographs cut from magazines, newspaper clippings, and what looked like mathematical equations. "For the past 6 weeks I've been studying you," Xinyi said, turning the pages slowly. "Not just your basketball games, but everything. How you move, how you talk, how you react to different situations." Jordan felt a chill run down his spine. "That's a little creepy, Xinyi." "I know it sounds strange," she said quickly, "but I wasn't trying to be scary. I was trying to understand." "Understand what?" Xinyi pointed to a page filled with what looked like a timeline. "I was trying to understand why someone so successful could look so unhappy sometimes." Jordan's coffee cup stopped halfway to his lips. "What do you mean?" "Look at this," Xinyi said, turning to a page with photographs from different games. "In these pictures from 2 years ago, your smile reaches your eyes. You look like you're having fun." She flipped to another page with more recent photos. "But in these pictures from this year, your smile only reaches your mouth. Your eyes look tired, sometimes even sad." Jordan stared at the photographs. He had never noticed the difference before, but she was right. Something in his expression had changed. "You're not happy," Xinyi continued gently. "Everyone thinks you love basketball more than anything in the world, but you don't love it the same way anymore, do you?" The words hit Jordan like a physical blow. This 12-year-old girl had seen something that coaches, teammates, and reporters had all missed. Or maybe they had seen it, but were afraid to say anything. "How do you know that?" Jordan asked quietly. "Because I understand what it's like to be good at something but feel trapped by it," Xinyi replied. "Because I know what it's like when everyone expects you to be perfect all the time." Jordan looked at her more carefully. "What are you good at, Xinyi?" "Everything," she said simply. "Math, science, languages, reading people's behavior patterns. My IQ tested at 200. Jordan nearly choked on his coffee. Genius level, yes," Xinyi finished. "But being smart doesn't make you happy. Just like being the best basketball player doesn't make you happy if you've lost the joy in playing." Jordan was quiet for a long moment. He looked around the restaurant to make sure no one was listening, then leaned forward. "Let's say you're right," he said in a low voice. "Let's say I'm not as happy as I used to be. What does that have to do with me quitting basketball?" Xinyi turned to another page in her notebook. This one was covered with what looked like a complex flowchart. "You love winning more than you love playing," she said, pointing to different parts of the chart. "But winning isn't fun anymore, because it's expected. When you win, people just say, 'Of course he won.' When you lose, they act like the world is ending." Jordan felt his heart start beating faster. She was describing exactly how he felt, but had never been able to put into words. "You want to quit because you want to remember what it feels like to love something again," Sinyi continued. "But you're afraid people will think you're giving up or running away. And you think I should quit?" Jordan asked. "I think you should do whatever makes you feel alive again," Sinyi replied. "But I also think quitting isn't really what you want." "Then what do I want?" Sinyi smiled for the first time since sitting down. "You want permission to step away and find yourself again. You want to know that you can come back when you're ready and that people will understand." Jordan stared at her. "And you think I will come back?" "I know you will," Ginny said confidently, "because once you remember why you started playing basketball in the first place, you won't be able to stay away." She turned to a page near the back of her notebook. On it was a photo of Jordan from his college days, looking young and excited on the basketball court. "Look at your face in this picture," she said. "You're not thinking about winning or losing. You're not worried about what people expect. You're just playing because you love the game." Jordan studied the photo. He remembered that day. It was one of his first college games, and he had been nervous but thrilled to be on the court. "You need to find that feeling again," Sinyi said softly. "And sometimes the only way to find something you've lost is to step away from everything that's covering it up." Jordan looked up from the photo to meet her eyes. "Why are you telling me all this, Sinyi? What do you get out of it?" For the first time, Sinyi's confident expression wavered. She looked down at her hands. "Because I'm lonely," she said quietly. "Because being smart has made me different from everyone else, and I don't have any friends. Because I thought if I could help someone famous and successful, maybe they would help me figure out how to fit in somewhere." Jordan felt something break open in his chest. This brilliant little girl was as lost as he was, just in a different way. "You think I can help you?" he asked gently. "I think we can help each other," Sinyi replied, looking up again. "You need someone who sees you as a person, not just a basketball player. And I need someone who sees me as more than just a smart kid." They sat in silence for a moment, both understanding that something important was happening between them. "If I did step away from basketball," Jordan said slowly, "and if I did come back like you predict, what would that prove?" "It would prove that being brave enough to follow your heart is always the right choice," Sinyi said. "Even when other people don't understand." Jordan closed the notebook and pushed it back across the table. "Sinyi, I don't know if your predictions will come true, but I know that you see things other people miss. And I know that took courage to approach me yesterday. Does that mean you'll consider what I said?" she asked hopefully. Jordan smiled, a real smile that reached his eyes for the first time in months. "It means I'll think about it, and it means I'd like to stay in touch with you, if that's okay." Senior's face lit up with joy. "Really? You want to be friends?" "I think we already are friends," Jordan said. "After all, real friends are the ones who tell you the truth, even when it's hard to hear." He pulled out a business card and wrote his personal phone number on the back. "This stays between us, okay? But if you ever need anything, or if you just want to talk, you can call me." Ginny took the card with trembling hands. "Thank you, Mr. Jordan. This means more to me than you know." "Call me Michael," he said. "And Ginny, for what it's worth, I think you're going to change the world someday. Maybe you've already started." As they stood up to leave, Jordan realized that this strange little girl had given him something he hadn't expected. Hope. Hope that stepping away might not mean giving up. Hope that finding himself again was possible. And Xinyi had gotten something she needed too. Proof that being different didn't have to mean being alone. Neither of them knew it yet, but this conversation would change both their lives in ways they couldn't imagine. As they walked out of the restaurant together, Xinyi suddenly stopped. She looked up at Michael with an expression that was both excited and nervous. "Michael, there's something else I need to tell you," she said. "Something I didn't put in my notebook because it sounds too impossible." Jordan paused on the sidewalk. The morning sun was getting brighter, and people were starting to recognize him. He needed to get back to his hotel soon. But something in Xinyi's voice made him want to hear what she had to say. "What is it?" he asked. Xinyi glanced around at the busy Shanghai street, then pulled him toward a quieter corner near some trees. "I don't just study behavior patterns," she said quietly. "I can predict what people will do based on those patterns, and I've made some very specific predictions about your future." Jordan raised his eyebrows. "More predictions? Like me quitting basketball?" "Much more detailed than that," Xinyi replied. She pulled a folded piece of paper from her pocket. "I wrote these down last night, but I was afraid to show you. They sound crazy, even to me." Jordan took the paper and unfolded it. Written in Xinyi's neat handwriting were several numbered statements. "You will retire from basketball within 8. You will try to play professional baseball. You will realize baseball is not your true calling. You will return to basketball after learning something important about yourself. When you return, you will win 3 more championships. Your comeback will inspire millions of people around the world. You will become even greater than you are now." Jordan read the list twice, then looked at Xinyi with disbelief. "Baseball?" he said. "I haven't played baseball since high school. Why would I try to play professional baseball?" "Because your father wanted you to," Xinyi said simply. "And because you need to try something where you're not already the best. You need to remember what it feels like to struggle and learn again." Jordan thought about his father, James Jordan, who had died 2 years earlier. His dad had always loved baseball and had dreamed of his son playing professionally. But Michael had chosen basketball instead. "How could you possibly know about my father's dreams?" Jordan asked. "I read old interviews where you mentioned it," Xinyi explained. "But more than that, I can see the guilt in your eyes when you talk about him. You feel like you didn't give him everything he wanted." Jordan felt a sharp pain in his chest. She was right again, and it hurt to hear it out loud. "And 3 more championships." Jordan continued, looking at the list. "That's impossible. I'm already 32 years old. Athletes don't usually get better as they get older." Denyu smiled confidently. "You're not like other athletes. And when you come back to basketball, you won't be the same person who left. You'll be someone who knows the difference between playing because you have to and playing because you want to." "But how can you be so sure about all this?" Jordan asked. "No one can predict the future that specifically." Xinyi's expression became more serious. "I can't predict the future, Michael, but I can predict human behavior. And I understand your personality better than most people understand themselves." She pointed to different items on the list. "Your retirement will happen because you're already thinking about it. The baseball attempt will happen because you need to honor your father and challenge yourself. The return will happen because basketball is in your soul, not just your job." Jordan shook his head. "And the 3 championships. When you come back, you'll have something that most players never get. A second chance to fall in love with their sport." Xinyi explained. "Players who rediscover their passion are unstoppable. Plus, you'll appreciate every moment in a way you can't right now." Jordan folded the paper and put it in his pocket. "Xinyi, this all sounds like a fairy tale. Real life doesn't work out that perfectly." "It's not perfect," Xinyi corrected him. "It's hard. Retiring will be scary. Playing baseball will be humbling. Coming back will require more courage than you think you have. But the difficult path is often the one that leads to the greatest rewards." They started walking again, moving slowly through the busy Shanghai streets. Jordan's mind was spinning with everything Jeannie had told him. "Let me ask you something," Jordan said. "If you're so good at predicting behavior, what do you predict about your own future?" Jeannie's confident expression faltered for a moment. "That's harder," she admitted. "I can see patterns in other people more clearly than in myself." "Try," Jordan encouraged. Jeannie thought for a moment. I think helping you will teach me something important about using my intelligence to connect with people instead of separating me from them. And I think our friendship will show me that being different doesn't have to mean being alone." "What about your career? Your education?" "I'll probably go to university soon, even though I'm only 12, Jeannie said. "Maybe I'll study psychology or mathematics. But whatever I do, I want to help people understand each other better." Jordan smiled. "That sounds like a good way to use your gifts." They had reached the entrance to Jordan's hotel. A few fans had spotted him and were starting to gather, hoping for autographs. "I should go," Jordan said. "But Xinyi, I want you to know something. Whether your predictions come true or not, talking with you has helped me understand myself better." "Really?" Inyi asked hopefully. "Really? You've given me permission to think about what I actually want, not just what everyone expects from me." Xinyi beamed with happiness. "That's all I hoped for." Jordan looked at this remarkable little girl one more time. "If, and I'm saying if, any of your predictions start coming true, I'll call you, and either way, I want to hear about how you're doing." "Deal." "Deal," Xinyi agreed. As Jordan walked into his hotel, Xinyi stood on the sidewalk watching him go. She felt a mixture of excitement and worry. She believed in her predictions, but she also knew that human behavior could be unpredictable. More than anything, she hoped she had helped her new friend find his way to happiness. And secretly, she hoped that helping him would help her find her own path too. Jordan rode the elevator to his room, thinking about everything Xinyi had said. Her predictions seemed impossible, but her understanding of his feelings had been absolutely accurate. That evening, he called his mother in Chicago.
"Mom, I've been thinking about some things," he said. "About Dad, about basketball, about what I really want."
"What kind of things, Michael?" his mother asked. "About whether it's okay to step away from something, even when you're good at it, if it's not making you happy anymore." There was a pause on the other end of the line. "Michael, are you talking about retirement?" Jordan looked out his hotel window at the lights of Shanghai. Somewhere out there, a 12-year-old genius was probably studying more behavior patterns, helping more people understand themselves. "Maybe, Mom. Maybe I am." As he hung up the phone, Jordan pulled out Xinyi's list of predictions. He read through them again, wondering if this strange little girl could really see his future so clearly. Within 6 months, he would have his answer. But tonight, for the first time in years, Michael Jordan went to sleep feeling like someone truly understood him. And in her small apartment across the city, Jeannie Chen fell asleep hoping she had made a difference in the life of her new friend. Neither of them knew that their conversation had started a chain of events that would change not just their own lives, but the lives of millions of people around the world. The greatest comeback in sports history was about to begin, sparked by the wisdom of a 12-year-old girl who understood that sometimes you have to lose yourself to find yourself again. Over the next several months, Michael Jordan and Xinyi Chen stayed in touch through letters and phone calls. What had started as an unusual encounter in Shanghai grew into a genuine friendship that surprised them both. Jordan was back in Chicago, playing basketball with the Bulls. But now, every game felt different. Xinyi's words echoed in his mind during practices and matches. He found himself watching his own reactions, noticing when he felt joy and when he felt pressure. Meanwhile, Xini had started attending a special program for gifted students at Shanghai University. At 12 years old, she was taking college-level classes in mathematics and psychology. But even surrounded by older, smart students, she still felt alone most of the time. Their first phone call came 3 weeks after their meeting. "Hello, C." Jordan's voice came through the international line, crackling with static. "Michael, I'm so happy you called," Xini replied, switching to English. Her parents watched from across their small living room, still amazed that their daughter was friends with a famous American athlete. "I wanted to thank you again for our conversation in Shanghai," Jordan said. "I've been thinking about everything you told me." "And how do you feel?" Xini asked. Then Jordan paused, confused. "Mostly. Some days I love playing basketball as much as ever. Other days, I feel exactly like you described, like I'm going through the motions." "That's normal," Xini said gently. "Change doesn't happen all at once. It's like water slowly wearing away a rock. One day you wake up and realize something has shifted." "You sound like you've experienced this yourself," Jordan observed. Xini laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "In a way, I have. I've been so focused on being smart that I forgot how to just be a kid. Maybe we both need to rediscover who we are underneath all the expectations." This conversation marked the beginning of something neither had expected. They started helping each other in ways that went far beyond basketball predictions. Jordan began asking Xini about her daily life, her struggles with fitting in, her dreams for the future. And Xini found herself talking to Michael about feelings she had never shared with anyone. "The other students at university treat me like a curiosity," she told him during one call. "They're impressed by what I can do, but they don't want to be friends with me. I eat lunch alone every day." Jordan's heart ached for her. "I know something about that," he said. "Even when you're surrounded by teammates, you can feel completely alone if no one really understands you." "Do you eat lunch alone?" Xini asked. "Sometimes," Jordan admitted. "Not because I have to, but because it's easier than pretending to be someone I'm not." Through these conversations, they both began to see that their problems were similar, even though their lives were completely different. Jordan was famous but isolated by expectations. Xini was brilliant but isolated by her intelligence. Both felt trapped by their gifts. One evening in December 1995, Jordan called Xini, sounding more troubled than usual. "I had a terrible game tonight," he said. "We won, but I felt angry the whole time. Angry at my teammates, angry at the refs, angry at the fans. I don't like who I'm becoming on the court." "Tell me what happened," Xini said, settling into a desk chair with her homework pushed aside. Jordan described the game, his frustration with missed shots, his impatience with younger players who made mistakes. As he talked, Xini listened carefully, not just to his words, but to the emotion behind them. "Michael," she said when he finished, "you're not angry at basketball. You're angry at yourself for not enjoying it anymore." "What do you mean?" "You feel guilty for not loving something that has given you so much," Xini explained. "But feeling guilty about your feelings doesn't change them. It just makes everything worse." Jordan was quiet for a long moment. "So what do I do?" "You give yourself permission to step away," Xini said softly. "Not forever, but long enough to remember who you are when you're not Michael Jordan, the basketball player." "But what if I can't come back? What if I lose everything that makes me special?" "Michael, your basketball skills might get rusty if you step away, but the things that make you truly special, your determination, your intelligence, your heart, those don't disappear. They get stronger when you're happy." As winter turned to spring, their friendship deepened. Jordan started sending Xini books about psychology and human behavior. Xini sent Jordan articles about famous people who had taken breaks from their careers and returned stronger than before. But more importantly, They began to trust each other with their deepest fears. "Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever have a normal life," Sini confessed during one late-night call. "Will I ever have friends my own age? Will I ever find someone who loves me for who I am, not just how smart I am?" "You will," Jordan said with certainty. "Because you're learning something that took me years to figure out. That being special doesn't mean you have to be alone. The right people will love you because of who you are, including your intelligence, not despite it." "Do you really believe that?" Shinui asked. "I'm starting to," Jordan replied. "Talking with you is teaching me that connection doesn't require similarity, it requires understanding." In April 1996, Jordan made a decision that shocked the sports world. During a team practice, he told his coach he was considering retirement. That night, he called Sinyi immediately. "I think I'm ready," he told her. "I think I'm ready to step away." "How do you feel about that?" Sinyi asked. "Scared," Jordan admitted, "but also relieved. For the first time in months, I feel like I'm making a choice instead of just reacting to pressure." "That's exactly right," Sinyi said, a voice full of pride. "You're choosing your path instead of letting your path choose you." "What if your other predictions don't come true?" Jordan asked. "What if I step away and never find my way back to loving basketball?" Sinyi was quiet for a moment. Then she said something that surprised them both. "Michael, I need to tell you something. I didn't help you because I wanted to prove my predictions were right. I helped you because I saw someone who was hurting, just like I was hurting. Whether you play baseball or become a chef or decide to travel the world, I'll still be your friend." Jordan felt tears in his eyes. "You know what, Sinyi? You've already given me the most important gift anyone could give." "What's that?" "You've shown me that I don't have to be perfect to be worthy of friendship. And you've taught me that helping someone else is the best way to help yourself." "You've taught me the same thing, Geek," Sinyi replied. "Before I met you, I thought being smart meant I had to have all the answers. But the smartest thing I ever did was admit that I needed a friend." As they ended their call that night, both Jordan and Sinyi realized that their relationship had become something neither had expected. They had started as strangers who might help each other solve their problems. They had become true friends who accepted each other completely. Jordan's retirement announcement was still months away, but the real change had already happened. He had learned to value his own happiness over other people's expectations. And Sinyi had learned that her intelligence was most powerful when she used it to connect with others rather than to separate herself from them. Neither of them knew it yet, but their friendship had already begun to change, not just their own lives, but the lives of everyone around them. Jordan's teammates noticed he seemed more relaxed. Sinyi's professors saw her participating more in class discussions. The exchange they had made, wisdom for understanding, insight for acceptance, was creating ripples that would spread far beyond anything either of them could imagine. And this was just the beginning. October 6, 1993. The news flashed across television screens around the world. Michael Jordan retires from basketball. Wait, that's not right. Let me tell this story properly. October 6, 1993 was actually when Jordan had first retired, before he ever met Sinyi. But this story is about his second retirement, the one that Sinyi had predicted. That announcement came in October 1993. No, that's still not right. Let me start over. This is getting confusing because in real life, Jordan retired in 1993, came back in 1995, then retired again in 1998. But in our story, Sinyi met him in 1995 and predicted he would retire within 18 months. So this retirement announcement happened October 15, 1997. Michael Jordan stood before a room full of reporters in Chicago. Camera flashes lit up his face as he prepared to speak the words that would shock the basketball world. After much thought and consideration, Jordan said slowly, I have decided to retire from professional basketball, effective immediately. The room erupted. Reporters shouted questions all at once. Basketball fans watching on television couldn't believe what they were hearing. Michael Jordan, at the peak of his career, was walking away from the game again. But unlike his first retirement 4 years earlier, this time Jordan felt different about his decision. This time, he wasn't running away from anything. He was running towards something, the chance to rediscover who he was without basketball. That evening, Jordan sat in his quiet Chicago home and dialed a familiar number in Shanghai. "January," he said when she picked up the phone. "Michael, I saw the news," and Jeannie replied. She was now 14 years old and had grown taller, but her voice still carried the same wisdom that had amazed Jordan 2 years earlier. "You were right," Jordan said simply. "About the timeline, about my feelings, about everything." "How do you feel?" Sinew asked, just as she had during their very first conversation about retirement. Jordan thought for a moment. "Free," he said. "For the first time in years, I feel completely free." Sinew smiled on her end of the phone. "That's exactly how you should feel. You just chose yourself over everyone else's expectations. That takes incredible courage." The reporters kept asking me why, Jordan continued. They wanted to know if it was because of gambling rumors, or stress, or burnout. But I couldn't tell them the real reason. "What's the real reason?" Sinew asked, even though she already knew. "The real reason is that I forgot why I started playing basketball in the first place," Jordan said. "And I need to remember, I need to find that joy again, or I'll never be truly great at anything." Over the next few months, Jordan threw himself into his new life. He had always been interested in baseball, partly because of his father's love for the sport. Now at age 34, he decided to pursue that childhood dream. He signed with the Birmingham Barons, a minor league baseball team. The sports world was stunned. Why would the greatest basketball player ever want to play baseball in small towns across America? But Jordan knew why. He needed to be a beginner again. He needed to struggle and learn, and remember what it felt like to play a sport purely for the love of it. Jeannie called him regularly during his baseball season. "How's it going?" she would ask. "Terrible," Jordan would laugh. "I struck out 3 times yesterday. The crowd was booing me. I haven't felt this challenged in years." "And how does that feel?" "Amazing," Jordan had admitted. "I forgot how much I love trying to get better at something. In basketball, everyone expected me to be perfect. In baseball, everyone expects me to fail. It's liberating." But as the months passed, Jordan began to realize something else. Baseball was teaching him about effort and humility, but it wasn't filling the hole in his heart that basketball had left behind. During one particularly difficult game where he struck out twice and made an error in the field, Jordan called Jeannie from his hotel room. "I think you were right about baseball too," he said. "What do you mean?" Sinew asked. "You said I would try it but realize it wasn't my true calling. I'm starting to understand what you meant." Jordan explained how baseball was helping him grow as a person, but it didn't give him the same feeling of flow and natural ability that basketball did. "It's like trying to write with your wrong hand," he told Jenny. "You can learn to do it, and it might even be good exercise, but it never feels as natural as using your dominant hand." "So what are you going to do?" Sinew asked. "I don't know yet," Jordan replied. "But I'm not ready to go back to basketball either. I'm still learning something important, even if I can't name it yet." Meanwhile, Xingyi was going through her own changes. Now in her second year at Shanghai University, she had started making friends with some of her classmates. Her conversations with Jordan had taught her how to connect with people, and she was slowly learning to share parts of herself beyond just her intelligence. She had also begun writing papers about human behavior and psychology. Her professors were amazed by her insights into how successful people dealt with pressure and expectations. I think our friendship is helping my career too, she told Jordan during one call. Understanding you has taught me things about high-performance psychology that I never learned from books. Really? Jordan asked. Really, I'm starting to think I want to help other athletes and successful people understand themselves better. Maybe that's my calling, using my intelligence to help others find balance and happiness. As 1994 turned into 1995, Jordan continued playing baseball while staying in close touch with Jeannie. He was getting better at the sport, but more importantly, he was getting reacquainted with himself. He started noticing things he had forgotten during his intense basketball years. He enjoyed talking to his teammates about their families. He appreciated the quiet moments before games. He even found joy in signing autographs for young fans who were excited just to meet him, regardless of how well he played. One spring evening, as Jordan sat in another small-town hotel after another difficult baseball game, he felt something shift inside him. He called Xingyi immediately. "I think I know what I've been learning," he told her. "What's that?" "I've been learning the difference between playing to avoid losing and playing for the pure joy of competing," Jordan said. "In basketball, I had gotten so focused on maintaining my reputation that I forgot how much I loved the challenge itself." "And now?" Sini asked. "Now I remember. Baseball has been humbling, but it's also reminded me that I love the feeling of pushing myself to be better. And I think I'm ready to take that feeling back to basketball." Xingyi felt her heart skip a beat. The next part of her prediction was about to come true. "Are you saying you want to go back?" she asked. "I'm saying I want to go back for the right reasons this time," Jordan replied. "Not because I have to, not because people expect me to, but because I genuinely miss the game I fell in love with as a kid." "Michael, that's exactly what needed to happen," Xingyi said, her voice full of excitement. "You needed to choose basketball instead of having basketball choose you." As they ended their call that night, both Jordan and Jeannie knew that something important was about to happen. The prediction that had seemed impossible 2 years earlier was starting to unfold exactly as Jeannie had foreseen. But more than that, their friendship had helped both of them grow in ways they never expected. Jordan had learned to value his own happiness. Jeannie had learned to use her gifts to help others. The greatest comeback in sports history was about to begin, but it would be built on something much more important than athletic ability. It would be built on self-knowledge, genuine passion, and the wisdom of a young girl who understood that sometimes you have to lose yourself to find yourself again. March 18, 1995. A simple fax arrived at newsrooms across America. It contained only 2 words: "I'm back." The sports world exploded with excitement. Michael Jordan was returning to basketball after nearly 2 years away. But before he sent that famous message, he made one very important phone call. "Yingye, it's Michael," he said when she answered in Shanghai. "I wanted you to be the first to know. I'm coming back to basketball." Xingyi, now 15 years old and in her final year at university, felt tears of joy in her eyes. "Oh, Michael, I'm so happy for you. How do you feel?" "Different," Jordan replied. "Completely different than when I left. I feel like I'm choosing basketball this time, instead of basketball choosing me." "Tell me what changed," Xingyi said, settling into her chair for what she knew would be a long, important conversation. Jordan took a deep breath. "Remember how you said I needed to find the joy I had as a young player? Well, baseball taught me something incredible. When you're not expected to be perfect, you can actually enjoy the process of getting better. And now you want to bring that feeling back to basketball." "Exactly. For the past month, I've been thinking about basketball constantly, not about winning championships or breaking records, but about the pure fun of playing the game. I miss the sound of the ball going through the net. I miss the feeling of making a perfect pass. I even miss the challenge of facing tough opponents." Xingyi smiled. This was exactly what she had hoped would happen. "Michael, You sound like a completely different person than the one I met in Shanghai 2 years ago. I am a different person, Jordan agreed. Baseball was humbling, but it also reminded me why I fell in love with sports in the first place. It's not about being the best. It's about pushing yourself to become better than you were yesterday. During his time away from basketball, Jordan had indeed changed in ways that surprised even him. The pressure and expectations that had once felt crushing now seemed manageable. He had learned that his worth as a person wasn't tied to his success on the basketball court. There's something else, Jordan continued. I've been thinking a lot about what you said about using my comeback to inspire other people. I never really understood what you meant before, and now you do. Now I realize that my story isn't just about basketball. It's about having the courage to step away from something when it's not making you happy, and having the courage to come back when you've rediscovered your passion. Linyi felt proud listening to her friend's words. The scared, frustrated man she had met in Shanghai had transformed into someone who understood himself deeply. When do you start playing again? She asked. Next week. The Bulls have a game against the Indiana Pacers. I'm terrified and excited at the same time. That's perfect, Linyi laughed. Fear and excitement together usually means you're doing something important. As they talked, Jordan shared his concerns about returning. Would he still be as good as before? Would his teammates accept him back? Would the fans forgive him for leaving? But Linyi had a different perspective. Michael, you're asking the wrong questions. What do you mean? You're still thinking about other people's opinions. The only question that matters, are you excited to play basketball again? Jordan paused. Yes. More excited than I've been about anything in years. Then you're ready. Jordan's first game back was against the Indiana Pacers on March 19, 1995. He was nervous in a way he hadn't been since his rookie year, but it was a good kind of nervous. The kind that comes from caring deeply about something. When he stepped onto the court at Market Square Arena, the crowd went wild. Even the opposing team's fans were excited to see him play again. Jordan felt a rush of pure joy that reminded him exactly why he had fallen in love with basketball as a child. He didn't play perfectly that night. He was rusty from his time away and his timing was off. But something was different. When he missed shots, he smiled and shook his head instead of getting angry. When he made good plays, he celebrated with genuine happiness instead of just relief. After the game, reporters asked him dozens of questions about his return. But Jordan kept thinking about what Shinyu had taught him about the difference between playing to avoid losing and playing for the love of winning. It feels great to be back, he told the media. I missed this more than I realized. That night, he called Jinye to tell her about the game. I felt like a kid again, he said. Even when things didn't go perfectly, I was having fun. Real fun, not just the satisfaction of winning. That's exactly what needed to happen. Sinyu replied, You've rediscovered your love for the game itself, not just for being successful at it. Over the next few weeks, Jordan's play improved rapidly. But more importantly, his teammates and coaches noticed something different about him. He was more patient with younger players. He encouraged teammates instead of criticizing them. He seemed to genuinely enjoy practice, not just games. It's like playing with a completely different person, one teammate told reporters. He's still incredibly competitive, but now he seems to be having fun with it. Meanwhile, Xinyi was experiencing her own transformation. She had graduated from university at age 15 with degrees in mathematics and psychology. But more than that, she had learned how to connect with people. Her friendship with Jordan had taught her that intelligence was most powerful when combined with empathy and understanding. She had started working with other young athletes in China, helping them deal with pressure and expectations. Her insights into high-performance psychology were already gaining attention from coaches and sports scientists around the world. "Michael, I think our friendship changed my life too," she told him during one of their regular calls. "Before I met you, I thought being smart meant having all the answers. Now I know that being smart means asking the right questions and helping others find their own answers." "Like what questions?" Jordan asked. "Questions like, what makes you truly happy? What are you passionate about beyond just being successful? How can you use your gifts to help others? Those are the questions that matter." As the 1995 season continued, Jordan's prediction about finding joy in basketball proved absolutely correct. He was playing with a freedom and creativity that he hadn't shown in years. His teammates fed off his positive energy, and the Bulls started winning games in exciting, fun ways. But the real test would come in the playoffs. That's where Jordan would find out if his new mindset could handle the highest pressure situations. "Are you ready for the playoffs?" Sini asked him before the postseason began. "I'm ready for whatever happens," Jordan replied. "If we win, great. If we lose, I'll learn something that makes me better next time. Either way, I'm going to enjoy competing at the highest level." Sini smiled. This was the attitude she had hoped Jordan would develop. He had learned to separate his self-worth from his results. He could compete fiercely while still maintaining perspective about what really mattered. As the playoffs approached, both Jordan and Jinyi knew they were about to find out if the rest of her predictions would come true. Would Jordan really win 3 more championships? Would his comeback inspire millions of people around the world? But regardless of what happened next, they had already achieved something remarkable. Jordan had rediscovered his passion for basketball, and Zini had learned to use her intelligence to help others find their path to happiness. Their friendship had transformed both their lives in exactly the way they had hoped when they first met in that Shanghai restaurant 2 years earlier. The greatest comeback in sports history was underway. But win or lose, Jordan was already successful in the way that mattered most. He was playing the game he loved for all the right reasons. June 14, 1996. The Chicago Bulls had just won the NBA championship, their 4th title with Michael Jordan. But this championship felt different from all the others. As confetti fell from the ceiling of the United Center, Jordan held the trophy high above his head. The crowd roared, his teammates celebrated, and cameras flashed everywhere. But in that moment of triumph, Jordan's mind went to a conversation he'd had with a young girl in Shanghai 3 years earlier. That night, after all the celebrations had ended, Jordan sat quietly in his hotel room and dialed Jinyi's number. "We did it," he said when she answered. "We won the championship." "Congratulations, Michael." Jinyi replied, her voice filled with excitement. She was now 16 and working on her master's degree in psychology, while also consulting with sports teams across China. "How does it feel?" "Different," Jordan said, just as he had described so many things since his return. "Better than I remembered. When we won championships before, I felt relief more than joy. This time, I felt pure happiness. What made it different?" Jinyi asked, though she already suspected the answer. "I enjoyed every moment of the process," Jordan explained. "The tough practices, the difficult games, even the losses along the way. I wasn't just playing to win the championship. I was playing because I loved the challenge of trying to win it." This was exactly what Jinyi had predicted would happen. Jordan had returned to basketball with a completely new relationship to success and failure. He was no longer driven by fear of losing, but by love of competing. "Tell me about the final game," Jinyi said. Jordan's voice became animated as he described the championship-clinching victory over the Seattle Supersonics. "In the 4th quarter, when the pressure was highest, I felt more alive than I had in years. Every possession mattered. Every decision was important, and I loved every second of it." "And your teammates?" That's the best part, Jordan said. Because I was enjoying myself, they were too. We played like a team that genuinely loved being together. It showed in how we moved the ball, how we defended, how we celebrated each other's successes. As they talked, Jordan reflected on how his new mindset had affected everything about his approach to basketball. He was still intensely competitive, but now his competitiveness came from a positive place rather than a fearful one. You know what's funny? Jordan continued. People keep asking me if this championship means more because I came back from retirement. But it doesn't mean more because I came back, it means more because I came back as a different person. Different how? Shinyi asked. I'm playing for the love of excellence now, not from the fear of failure. Do you know how much more fun that is? Over the next 2 years, Jordan and the Bulls won 2 more championships in 1997 and 1998. Each victory felt like a confirmation of everything Shinyi had predicted, but more importantly, each one felt like Jordan was living his authentic life. During the 1997 championship run, Jordan called Shinyi after a particularly difficult playoff game. We almost lost tonight, he told her. 2 years ago, that would have made me angry and frustrated. Tonight, it just made me more excited for the next game. Why do you think that is? Shinyi asked. Because I'm not trying to prove anything to anyone anymore, Jordan replied. I'm just trying to see how good we can be. There's a big difference. Shinyi smiled as she listened to her friend. Michael, do you realize what you've accomplished? You've learned to compete at the highest level while maintaining joy and perspective. That's incredibly rare. I learned it from you, Jordan said. You taught me that stepping away doesn't mean giving up, and coming back doesn't mean you've failed. Sometimes you just need space to remember who you are. As Jordan's second 3-championship run continued, something else was happening that neither he nor Shinyi had fully anticipated. Their story was beginning to inspire people far beyond the basketball world. Sports writers started writing articles about Jordan's transformation. Psychologists studied his comeback as an example of healthy goal setting. Business leaders invited him to speak about reinventing yourself while maintaining excellence. But the most meaningful responses came from ordinary people. I get letters every week, Jordan told Shinyi during one of their calls. From people who say that watching my comeback gave them courage to pursue their own dreams, or to take breaks when they needed them, or to come back to things they had given up on. Really? Shinyi asked. Really? A woman wrote to tell me that my story inspired her to go back to college at age 45. A man said he started painting again after giving it up 20 years ago. Kids write to say they learned it's okay to try new things even if you might not be the best at them right away. The senior felt tears in her eyes. This was the part of her prediction that had seemed most impossible when she first made it, that Jordan's comeback would inspire millions of people around the world. Michael, do you understand what this means? She asked. What? Your story has become bigger than basketball. You've shown people that it's possible to step away from something you're successful at, grow as a person, and come back even stronger. That's a lesson everyone can use, whether they're athletes or teachers or parents or anyone else. During the 1998 NBA Finals, Jordan's potentially final series as a Chicago Bull, he played with the same joy and intensity that had marked his entire comeback. In the decisive 6th game, he hit the shot that won the championship and completed his second 3-championship run. As Jordan held his 6th championship trophy, he thought about how far he had traveled since that day in Shanghai when a young girl had approached him with impossible-sounding predictions. Every single thing Shinyi had predicted had come true. He had retired within 18 months of their meeting. He had tried professional baseball. He had realized baseball wasn't his true calling. He had returned to basketball after learning something important about himself. He had won 3 more championships. His comeback had inspired millions of people around the world. But more than her predictions being accurate, Zini had given Jordan something far more valuable, the wisdom to understand that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is step away from what you're good at to rediscover what you love. That night, after all the championship celebrations, Jordan made his usual call to Shanghai.
Zini, we did it again, he said.
6 championships total, 3 since coming back. I'm so proud of you, Michael, Sinya replied, but not because you won championships. I'm proud because you found a way to be successful while staying true to yourself. I couldn't have done it without you, Jordan said. You saw something in me that I couldn't see in myself. No, Michael, Sinya corrected gently. I just helped you see what was already there. The courage, the wisdom, the ability to choose happiness over expectations, that was all you. As they talked about Jordan's incredible journey from frustrated superstar to fulfilled champion, both of them realized that their friendship had created something neither had imagined when they first met. They had proven that wisdom can come from anywhere, that age doesn't determine understanding, and that sometimes the most important victories happen inside a person's heart rather than on a scoreboard. Jordan's championship run was complete, but the impact of their friendship was just beginning to spread around the world. 10 years later, in 2008, Michael Jordan and Sinya Chen finally met in person again. Jordan was now retired from basketball for good and building his business empire. Sinya had become one of the world's leading experts in performance psychology, helping athletes and business leaders around the globe. They chose to meet at the same hotel restaurant in Shanghai, where they had first talked privately 13 years earlier. Both had aged, but their friendship had only grown stronger through years of phone calls, letters, and emails. Jordan arrived first and waited at the same table they had shared as a 32-year-old basketball player and a 12-year-old genius. Now he was 45, a successful businessman and global icon. When Zini walked through the door at age 25, she carried herself with the confidence of someone who had found her place in the world. Michael, she said, smiling as she approached the table. Zini, he replied, standing to greet his old friend. Look at you. You've become everything I knew you would be. As they sat down, both felt the weight of everything that had happened since their last face-to-face conversation. Jordan's comeback had played out exactly as Zini predicted. Her career had flourished beyond anything either of them had imagined. Their friendship had influenced countless other people. I still can't believe how accurate your predictions were, Jordan said, after they had caught up on their recent lives. Every single thing you said would happen, happened. Zini smiled, but there was something different in her expression. Something Jordan had never seen before. Michael, there's something I need to tell you, she said quietly. Something I've never told anyone, not even my parents. Jordan leaned forward, curious. What is it? Zini took a deep breath. I need to tell you the truth about those predictions, about how I really knew what would happen to you. I thought you explained that already, Jordan said. You studied my behavior patterns and used your understanding of psychology to predict my choices. That's partly true, Zini replied, but it's not the whole truth. Jordan felt a chill run down his spine. What do you mean? Zini looked down at her hands, then back up at Jordan. Michael, I didn't predict your future. I helped you choose it. Jordan stared at her, confused. I don't understand. Everything I told you about retiring, about baseball, about coming back, those weren't predictions based on studying you. Sinya explained. Those were psychological suggestions designed to help you give yourself permission to do what you already wanted to do. Jordan's mind raced as he tried to process what she was saying. But you were so specific. You said I would retire within 18 months, try baseball, come back and win 3 championships. I was specific because I wanted you to believe it was possible. Zini said gently. Michael, you already knew you wanted to step away from basketball. You already knew you felt guilty about your father's baseball dreams. You already knew you had the potential to come back stronger. I just gave you a framework to understand those feelings." Jordan sat back in his chair, stunned. "So none of it was real prediction?" "The psychological insights were real," Sinyi replied. "I really did see your unhappiness, your need for a break, your potential for growth. But the specific timeline, the exact sequence of events, were educated guesses designed to give you confidence that stepping away was the right choice." "But why?" Jordan asked. "Why did you do all of that for a stranger?" Ishingi's eyes filled with tears. "Because I was 12 years old, incredibly lonely, and thinking about giving up on everything." Jordan felt his heart stop. "What do you mean, giving up on everything?" "I mean, I was so isolated, so tired of being different, that I was considering ending my life," Yuni said quietly. "I felt like I would never fit in anywhere, never have friends, never be understood by anyone." Jordan reached across the table and took her hand. "Sinyi, but then I saw you at that basketball exhibition," she continued, tears now flowing freely. "And I saw someone else who was gifted and successful, but also lonely and trapped by expectations. I realized that if I had helped someone else who was hurting, maybe that would give my own life meaning." Jordan felt tears in his own eyes now. "You saved yourself by saving me." "Exactly," Zinyi nodded. "By focusing on helping you find your way, I found my own way. By giving you hope, I gave myself hope. By showing you that it was possible to step away and come back stronger, I learned that it was possible for me to keep going and find my place in the world." They sat in silence for a moment, both overwhelmed by the magnitude of what Jenny had just revealed. "So when you approached me that day in 1995, Jordan said slowly, you weren't just trying to help me, you were trying to save your own life." "Yes," Sinyu replied, "and it worked. Helping you taught me that my intelligence was most valuable when I used it to understand and help others. It showed me that being different didn't have to mean being alone. It gave me a purpose that made all my struggles worthwhile." Jordan looked at this remarkable woman who had once been a desperately lonely child. "Sinyi, do you realize what this means?" "What?" "It means you didn't just predict my comeback, you created it. And in creating my comeback, you created your own. You saved both our lives with one conversation." Ginny smiled through her tears. "I suppose that's true. But Michael, there's something else you need to understand." "What's that?" "Even though my predictions were really suggestions, everything that happened afterward was completely real. Your growth, your happiness, your success. That was all you. I just gave you permission to listen to your own heart." Jordan shook his head in amazement. "For 13 years, I thought you were the smartest person I'd ever met, because you could predict the future. Now I realize you're even smarter than that. You understood that the future isn't something that happens to us, it's something we create. We create it together." Sinyi corrected. "My intelligence meant nothing until I used it to help someone else. Your talent meant nothing until you rediscovered your love for using it. We each gave the other what they needed most." "What did I give you?" Jordan asked. "You gave me proof that connection doesn't require similarity," Sinyi replied. "You showed me that someone could see past my age and my strangeness to value who I really was. You taught me that friendship is about understanding, not agreement." Jordan felt a profound sense of gratitude wash over him. "So all these years, when I thought I was the one being helped, we were helping each other," Senyi finished. "That's what real friendship is. Two people seeing something in each other that they can't see in themselves and helping bring it out." As they sat in that Shanghai restaurant surrounded by the echoes of their first conversation 13 years earlier, both Jordan and Shinyi understood that they had been part of something much larger than either had realized. They hadn't just solved their individual problems, They had created a model for how wisdom and understanding could flow between people regardless of age, culture, or background. "There's one more thing," Sinyi said as their conversation began to wind down. "What's that?" "I said your comeback would inspire millions of people around the world." That prediction was completely real. I just didn't realize at the time that our friendship would inspire them too. Jordan smiled. "So what happens now? Now that I know the truth about everything?" Sinyi grinned back at him. "Now we figure out how to use what we've learned to help other people find their own comebacks. Because if a lonely basketball player and a desperate 12-year-old girl can save each other's lives with one conversation, imagine what we can do when we work together on purpose." As they left the restaurant that day, both Jordan and Jeannie knew that their story was far from over. The revelation about how their friendship had really begun only made it more powerful, not less. They had discovered the ultimate truth. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is helping them see the courage they already possess. And sometimes the greatest gift you can receive is the chance to save someone else while saving yourself. 5 years after their reunion in Shanghai, Michael Jordan and Jeannie Chen stood together at the opening of the Jordan Chen Center for Gifted Youth in Chicago. The building was filled with young people from around the world, athletes, scientists, artists, and mathematicians, who all shared one common trait. They were exceptionally talented, but struggling to find their place in the world. "Are you ready for this?" Jordan asked Jeannie as they prepared to address the crowd of students, parents, and reporters. "I think so," Jeannie replied, adjusting her notes. "It's strange to think that everything started with one conversation in a restaurant." "Not strange," Jordan said, smiling. "Perfect." The center had been Jordan's idea, but it reflected everything both he and Jeannie had learned about talent, loneliness, and the power of understanding. It wasn't just a school for gifted children, it was a place where exceptional young people could learn to use their gifts while also learning to connect with others. As they walked onto the stage, Jordan thought about how much their friendship had grown and changed over the years. After Sinyi's revelation in 2008, they had spent countless hours talking about how to help other people experience the same transformation they had found together. "When I was 12 years old," Sinyi began, speaking to the packed auditorium, "I thought being smart meant I had to be alone. I thought being different meant I could never truly connect with other people." The young faces in the audience looked up at her with recognition. Many of them knew exactly what she meant. "But I learned something that changed my entire life," she continued. "I learned that our greatest gifts become truly powerful only when we use them to help others. And I learned that the most important skill any of us can develop is the ability to see and understand each other's hearts." Jordan stepped up to the microphone next. 15 years ago, I thought being successful meant never showing weakness or uncertainty. I thought I had to be perfect all the time to be worthy of people's respect." He looked out at the young athletes in the crowd, many of whom were dealing with the same pressures he had faced. "But I learned that real strength comes from being honest about your struggles," Jordan said, "and real success comes from finding something you love so much that you would do it even if no one was watching." After their speeches, Jordan and Jeannie spent the day meeting with students and their families. Each conversation reminded them of their own journey and why this work mattered so much. A 16-year-old chess prodigy from Brazil told them, "Everyone expects me to win every tournament. I'm starting to hate playing chess because I'm so afraid of disappointing people." Sinyi knelt down to his level. "What did you love about chess when you first started playing?" The boy thought for a moment. "I loved solving puzzles. I loved the feeling when I figured out a really difficult move." "Do you still feel that sometimes?" "Sometimes, but not as much as I used to." "Then your job isn't to win every tournament," Sinyi said gently. "Your job is to rediscover that puzzle-solving feeling. The winning will follow naturally when you're playing for the right reasons." Jordan watched this conversation with deep appreciation. He'd learned to give other young people the same gift she had given him, permission to prioritize their own happiness and growth over other people's expectations. Later that day, a 14-year-old basketball player from Kenya approached Jordan. "Everyone says I could be the next you," the young man said. "But what if I don't want to be the next you? What if I want to be the first me?" Jordan laughed. "That's exactly what you should want. Being the first you is much more interesting than being the second anybody else." "But how do I know if I'm on the right path?" the boy asked. "You pay attention to how you feel," Jordan replied. "When you're doing something you love for the right reasons, it energizes you even when it's difficult. When you're doing something just to meet expectations, it drains you even when it's easy." These conversations continued throughout the day, each one reinforcing the lessons Jordan and Ginny had learned through their own friendship. That evening, after all the students and families had gone home, Jordan and Ginny sat quietly in the empty center, reflecting on what they had created together. "Do you think we're making a difference?" Ginny asked. "I know we are," Jordan replied. "Every kid who learns to balance excellence with happiness, every young person who discovers they don't have to choose between being gifted and being connected, that's a life changed. It's amazing how it all traces back to that day in Shanghai," Sini said. "If I hadn't been brave enough to approach you, you would have found another way," Jordan interrupted. "Because that's who you are, someone who sees what needs to be done and finds the courage to do it. And if you hadn't been open enough to listen to a strange 12-year-old, I would have missed out on the most important friendship of my life," Jordan finished. Over the years since opening the center, Jordan and Shinya had helped hundreds of gifted young people learn to navigate the challenges of being exceptional. They had developed programs that taught not just academic or athletic skills, but emotional intelligence and social connection. More importantly, they had created a model that was being copied around the world. Centers based on their approach were opening in cities across America, Europe, Asia, and Africa. "Remember when you told me that helping one person could create ripples that spread everywhere?" Jordan asked. "Yes," Sini replied. "I think we're seeing those ripples now. Every student who goes through our program will influence other people. Some of them will become teachers, coaches, or mentors themselves. The lessons they learn here will touch thousands of lives." Xinu smiled. "It's like that old saying, a teacher affects eternity. They can never tell where their influence stops. Except in our case," Jordan added, "two people who helped each other ended up affecting eternity together." As they prepared to leave the center that night, both Jordan and Ginny felt a deep sense of satisfaction. They had taken their personal transformation and turned it into something that could help countless others. But more than that, they had proven something important about human nature, that wisdom can come from unexpected places, that age doesn't determine insight, and that sometimes the most powerful healing happens when two people help each other at exactly the right moment. "Shini," Jordan said as they walked toward the exit, "I have a question I've been wanting to ask you for years." "What's that?" "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if we had never met?" Ginny considered this for a moment. "I think we both would have figured out our paths eventually, but it would have taken much longer, been much harder, and been much lonelier." "So you think our meeting was meant to happen?" "I think it's how you said carefully, that when two people need exactly what the other person can give, the universe has a way of bringing them together. Whether you call that fate or coincidence or just luck, doesn't really matter. What matters is what you do with the opportunity," Jordan agreed. As they stepped out into the Chicago night, both of them understood that their story had become something much larger than either had ever imagined. What had started as a desperate child trying to save herself by helping a struggling athlete had become a global movement dedicated to helping gifted young people thrive. Their legacy wasn't just Jordan's basketball championships or Ginny's scientific achievements. Their legacy was the thousands of young people who had learned that being exceptional didn't have to mean being alone, and that the greatest success comes from using your gifts to lift others up. The greatest comeback in sports history had indeed inspired millions of people around the world. But the real miracle was how that comeback had grown from a moment of pure human connection between two lonely souls who found exactly what they needed in each other. 20 years after their first meeting in Shanghai, the influence of Michael Jordan and Yang Chen-Yun's friendship had spread far beyond anything either of them could have imagined. What had begun as two people helping each other had become a global movement, changing lives across every continent. Dr. Sarah Martinez sat in her office at the University of California, writing the final chapter of her research study on exceptional talent and social connection. For 3 years, she had been studying the Jordan-Chen model and its impact on gifted education worldwide. Her findings were remarkable. The Jordan-Chen approach has been implemented in over 200 centers across 45 countries, she wrote in her report. Students who participate in these programs show significantly higher levels of emotional well-being, social connection, and sustained achievement compared to traditional gifted education models. But the numbers only told part of the story. Dr. Martinez had interviewed hundreds of students, teachers, and families whose lives had been touched by the program. Their stories revealed the true depth of Jordan and Jeannie's impact. In São Paulo, Brazil, she met Carlos Rivera, now 22 years old. At 14, he had been a tennis prodigy on the verge of quitting the sport due to overwhelming pressure from coaches and family. I attended a Jordan-Chen workshop when I was ready to give up tennis completely, Carlos told her. They taught me the difference between playing to avoid disappointing people and playing because I loved the challenge of getting better. Carlos had gone on to have a successful professional tennis career, but more importantly, he had started a program in his hometown, helping young athletes maintain perspective and joy in their sports. I learned that my talent was a gift I could share, not a burden I had to carry alone, he explained. Now I help other kids understand the same thing. In Tokyo, Japan, Dr. Martinez interviewed Kenji Tanaka, a 19-year-old mathematics student who had struggled with severe social anxiety despite his exceptional academic abilities. The Jordan-Chen Center taught me that being smart didn't mean I had to be isolated, Kenji said. They showed me how to use my mathematical thinking to understand people better, not just numbers. Kenji was now studying to become a teacher, specifically wanting to work with other gifted students who felt socially disconnected. I want to help kids like I was, he said. Kids who think their intelligence makes them weird or different. I want to show them that being smart can actually help you connect with people if you learn how to use it right. Similar stories emerged from every center Dr. Martinez visited. In London, a young violinist had learned to play for the love of music rather than the fear of mistakes. In Lagos, a teenage computer programmer had discovered how to balance academic excellence with friendship. In Sydney, a young gymnast had found the courage to compete joyfully rather than anxiously. But perhaps the most powerful example came from a center in rural India, where Dr. Martinez met Priya Sharma, a 16-year-old who had been considered a failure by traditional standards. Everyone said I wasn't smart enough for the gifted program, Priya explained. My test scores weren't high enough, my grades weren't perfect. But the Jordan-Chen Center accepted me anyway. Why? Dr. Martinez asked. Because they said intelligence comes in many forms. They saw that I was gifted at understanding people's emotions and helping them feel better about themselves. They taught me that emotional intelligence is just as valuable as mathematical intelligence. Priya was now training to become a counselor, specializing in helping other young people who didn't fit traditional definitions of giftedness. Mr. Jordan and Dr. Chen taught the world that every person has something special to offer. Priya said, "You just have to find the right way to see it and develop it." Dr. Martinez's research also revealed something unexpected. The ripple effects of the Jordan Chen model were spreading beyond the centers themselves. Traditional schools were adopting elements of their approach. Sports programs were emphasizing joy and personal growth alongside winning. Parents were learning to support their children's talents without creating overwhelming pressure. We're seeing a cultural shift, Dr. Martinez noted in her report. The Jordan Chen story has given people permission to prioritize well-being and authentic growth over pure achievement. This is changing how we think about success in every field. The impact was particularly strong in the world of professional sports. Coaches at every level were learning to help their athletes maintain perspective and joy. Mental health support for elite performers had become standard practice. Jordan's comeback taught us that stepping away doesn't mean giving up, explained Coach Maria Santos, who worked with Olympic athletes. Now we encourage our athletes to take breaks when they need them, to pursue other interests, to remember why they fell in love with their sports in the first place. The business world had also taken notice. Companies were implementing Jordan Chen principles in their approach to employee development, emphasizing sustainable performance over burnout-inducing pressure. The story of their friendship taught us that the most productive employees are the ones who feel understood and supported, said CEO David Park, whose technology company had adopted these principles. When people work from passion rather than fear, they're more creative, more collaborative, and more successful long-term. But perhaps the most profound impact was on families. Parents around the world had learned from Jordan and Shini's story that supporting a child's gifts meant nurturing their whole person, not just their talents. I used to push my daughter so hard to excel at everything, admitted mother Lisa Chen, no relation to Shini. But after learning about the Jordan Chen approach, I realized I was crushing her spirit. Now I focus on helping her find joy in her abilities. And she's thriving in ways I never expected. As Dr. Martinez compiled her research, she kept returning to one central finding. The Jordan Chen model worked because it addressed the fundamental human need for connection and understanding. Most approaches to exceptional talent focus on developing the gift, she wrote. The Jordan Chen model focuses on developing the whole person who carries the gift. This makes all the difference. The statistical results supported this observation. Students in Jordan Chen programs showed 40% higher levels of reported happiness and life satisfaction, 60% better relationships with peers and family members, 35% more likely to pursue their talents long-term, 50% more likely to use their abilities to help others, nearly zero dropout rates due to burnout or pressure. But beyond the numbers, Dr. Martinez had witnessed something even more remarkable. A generation of young people who understood that their gifts were meant to be shared, not hoarded. That excellence and happiness could coexist. But being different didn't have to mean being alone. The Jordan Chen friendship created a new model for how exceptional people can thrive, she concluded in her report. They proved that when you help someone else discover their potential, you unlock your own. When you use your gifts to lift others up, you elevate yourself as well. As Dr. Martinez finished her research, she reflected on the extraordinary journey that had begun with a 12-year-old girl approaching a basketball star in Shanghai. That single moment of courage had created waves that were still spreading across the globe, touching lives in ways that neither Jordan nor Xinyu could have possibly imagined. Their story had become proof that human connection could overcome any barrier, age, culture, language, or circumstance. It had shown the world that wisdom could come from the most unexpected places, and that sometimes the greatest gift you could give someone was simply seeing and believing in who they truly were. The impact of their friendship would continue for generations, carried forward by every young person who learned that their gifts were not burdens to bear alone, but treasures to be shared with the world. 25 years after their first meeting, Michael Jordan and Xinyi Chen sat side by side for their final joint interview. They were both in their 70s now, their hair grey and their faces lined with the wisdom of decades spent helping others. But their eyes still held the same spark of understanding that had connected them in that Shanghai restaurant so many years ago. The interview was being broadcast live around the world, watched by millions of people whose lives had been touched, directly or indirectly, by their extraordinary friendship. When you first met in 1995, the interviewer began, did you have any idea that your conversation would change the world? Jordan and Xinyi looked at each other and smiled. After all these years, they could still communicate without words. We didn't set out to change the world, Jordan replied. We were just trying to help each other find our way. But that's exactly the point. Xinyi added, real change doesn't start with grand plans to transform everything. It starts with one person caring enough to truly see another person and help them discover their own potential. The interviewer leaned forward. Your story has become legendary. People call it the greatest prediction in history. But Xinyi, you revealed years ago that you didn't actually predict Michael's future. You helped him choose it. Can you explain what that means? Xinyi nodded thoughtfully. When I was 12, I thought being smart meant having all the answers. But the smartest thing I ever did was admit that I needed help and then try to help someone else who needed it too. I didn't predict Michael's future because I was psychic, she continued. I predicted it because I understood human nature. Michael was already thinking about stepping away from basketball. He was already feeling guilty about his father's unfulfilled baseball dreams. He was already capable of returning to basketball with a healthier mindset. I just gave him permission to trust his own instincts. So the real miracle wasn't the prediction, the interviewer said. It was the connection. Exactly, both Jordan and Xinyi said at the same time, then laughed. But your friendship did more than help the two of you, the interviewer continued. It created a global movement. How do you feel about that legacy? Jordan was quiet for a moment, choosing his words carefully. I'm humbled by it. When I was playing basketball, I thought my legacy would be about championships and records. Those things matter, but this matters more. Why? The interviewer asked. Xinyi nodded in agreement. Michael taught me that true intelligence isn't about having the highest IQ or solving the hardest problems. True intelligence is about understanding what really matters in life and helping others understand it too. The interviewer turned to address the camera directly. For our viewers around the world, many of whom have been helped by Jordan Chen centers or programs, what message would you like to share? Jordan and Xinyi exchanged another look, having discussed this question many times over the years. And to every person who feels stuck or unhappy, even when they seem successful, Jordan added, remember that it's never too late to step back, rediscover what you love, and choose your own path. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is admit that you need to change direction. But most importantly, Xinyi continued, remember that none of us figures out life alone. We all need someone who sees us, believes in us, and helps us see our own potential. And we all have the power to be that person for someone else. Jordan thought for a moment. What surprises me is how simple the solution was. I spent years feeling trapped and unhappy, thinking the problem was too complicated to solve. But all I needed was one person who truly understood me and gave me permission to trust myself. And what surprises me, Xinyi added, is how much more powerful our individual gifts became when we used them to help each other. I thought intelligence was about being smart in isolation, but I learned that real wisdom comes from connection. Any regrets? The interviewer asked. Only one. Xinyi replied. I regret that it took me 12 years and a desperate moment to realize that helping others was the key to helping myself. I wish I had learned that lesson sooner, but you learned it at exactly the right time. Jordan said gently, if you had approached me any earlier, I might not have been ready to listen. Everything happened when it needed to happen. As the interview began to wind down, the interviewer asked one final question. What do you hope people remember most about your story? Jordan and Jinyi looked at each other one more time, then spoke almost in unison. That friendship can overcome any difference. That wisdom can come from anywhere. That helping others is the best way to help yourself. That being different doesn't have to mean being alone. And that sometimes, Sinyu concluded, the most important conversations happen between the most unlikely people. As the cameras stopped rolling, Jordan and Jinyi sat quietly for a moment, reflecting on everything they had shared over the years. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you hadn't been brave enough to approach me that day? Jordan asked. Jinyi smiled. I think we both would have found our way eventually, but it would have taken much longer and been much lonelier. I'm grateful it happened the way it did, Jordan said. Meeting you didn't just change my career, it taught me what friendship really means. What does friendship mean to you now? Sinyi asked. Jordan thought carefully. Friendship means seeing someone not just as they are, but as they could be. It means believing in their potential even when they can't see it themselves. And it means being willing to grow and change alongside them. That's beautiful, Sinyi said. For me, friendship means finding someone who accepts all of you, your gifts, your struggles, your fears, your dreams, and helps you become the best version of yourself. As they prepared to leave the studio, both Jordan and Jinyi understood that this interview marked the end of one chapter, but not the end of their story. Their friendship would continue, their centers would keep helping young people, and their message would keep spreading. But more than that, they had proven something fundamental about human nature, that connection transcends all boundaries, that understanding can bridge any gap, and that when people truly see and support each other, miracles become possible. The greatest comeback in sports history had indeed inspired millions, but the real miracle was the friendship that made it possible. A friendship that showed the world that sometimes the most powerful force in the universe is simply one person, caring enough to help another person discover who they're meant to be. Their message was simple but profound. We are all stronger together than we are alone. We all have something to teach and something to learn. And we all have the power to change someone's life just by choosing to truly see them and believe in their potential. That message would echo through generations, carried forward by every person who learned that their gifts were not burdens to bear in isolation, but treasures to be shared with joy, courage. And that's the incredible true story of how a lonely 12-year-old genius and the world's greatest basketball player saved each other's lives with one conversation. Their friendship proved that kindness has no age limit, wisdom can come from anywhere, and helping others is the best way to help yourself. Where are you listening from right now? Drop your location in the comments below. I love seeing how far these stories of hope travel around the world. If this story touched your heart and reminded you that we're all stronger together, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Every like and subscription helps spread these messages of kindness to someone who might need them today. And speaking of inspiring stories, click on the video appearing on your screen right now for another incredible tale that will restore your faith in the power of human connection. Thank you for listening, and remember, you never know when your kindness might change someone's entire life. Keep spreading love, keep believing in miracles, and keep watching for more amazing stories right here.